Hello, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Jalisa Leah here, and we're back with another episode of From Baddie To Saved Podcast. Today's episode is called Stop Rushing God. There is beauty in your becoming. When we're on this journey with the Lord, we often try to rush the process. We often show our impatience a bit too early and don't realize that there's a lot more work, inner work, spiritual cleansing to do before you can receive certain things. So don't be so fast to rush the process and try to find out what's going to happen next, okay? It's coming and I want you to learn from me, okay? When I was on my journey and I was on fire for the Lord, when I say I was on fire for the Lord, I am still on fire. I keep saying was because I'm talking about the past, okay? Don't get it twisted. I just loved him so much. I just loved everything that I was being taught, everything that I was learning, everything that I was reading in the Bible. I loved just becoming a better me through his word. I loved it so much, and I loved how quick things were moving for me to transition from who I was before to who I was becoming, and I was in love with it so much that I was drawn to go to the church. And when I found my church, I started going in person, and they had this thing where you could track your growth with the church, right? They would allow you to do a whole study on the Bible, not the Bible, but certain things that were important to kind of show what you know, what you don't know. This is something that should have took me at least a month to complete, because it was literally modules. Like, some things you had to watch videos, like 5 videos, and then do a questionnaire, and if you got the right score, you would be able to go into the next chapter of the study, right? It took me 2 weeks to do 5 different modules of this thing. I think it was 5, I might be wrong. And at the end of every single one of them, you have a chance to speak to someone in the church that runs these courses and basically kind of speak about what you've learned and kind of find out what you want from it moving forward, what you would like to do next, basically. And I did these modules so fast that I skipped 2 stages of the meeting point. Like, when we meet in person and speak about it, I skipped 2 stages and went to the end, as in the final round, as in you're fully qualified in the course, right? Not an actual certificate or anything. It just means you've learned enough to go on to the next stage. And I went in person and I was on fire, and I was like, being able to talk about what God has done in my life at the start. I was at the start, nothing really had happened yet other than being in the wilderness and being able to kind of forgive so many things and realize when I was wrong and correct my wrongs when I was wrong and make amends and just get my heart posture right and not be so judgmental, because that is something that can happen, unfortunately. When you have the fire of the Lord in you, you can sometimes become judgmental and say the wrong thing, or you try to give someone advice and it comes out in a negative way. Unfortunately, sometimes I would mean well and it wouldn't come out well. It would come across as if I'm condemning somebody that I truly love, but it's only because I wanted them to be on the same path as me. I wanted them to be in alignment with me, but it's not my doing, it's God's doing in their life. And I was not in a position to say that they're not even qualified or ready for me. It was just that I was so on fire that I needed somebody to kind of mirror where I was, and it wasn't happening. So I just used to bark my faith onto them and just be like, you need to be fixed. And it wasn't the right thing to do. So when I met these people in person and got to talk to them, and I sat with this lady, and she was just like to me, when I explained that I was in the wilderness, I'd lost my job, I was starting again in life, I wasn't attached to anything, there was no one calling me to be at work, there was nothing required of me. I was just free to bask in my Father's presence and change and become new and just die to old self, die to old ways. I was being called on a different path, and I was enjoying it, but I was also in a rush to see what's going to happen next, to try and just be a part of whatever God is calling me to, without really sitting and being patient and realizing this is a part of the process. But yeah, I just explained to this lady that I was in the wilderness and so much had happened, and I explained my failed pregnancy and everything that had happened, and I said the next step I would need to take on my journey is baptism. And she was like, how do you know? Like, she just wanted me to kind of like understand what I'm saying without just saying something because I think it's gonna please God. Like, she wanted to know that my heart was in the right place when I was making this choice, and I thank her for that, because that really made me sit back and be like, you know what, I'm here thinking I have nothing to do, I'm not attached to anything, I need to figure out my life, when really I should have just been grateful that God had given me the pause button and allowed me to become who He wanted me to be this whole time. I remember in my wilderness, I used to absolutely love waking up to the sound of the birds singing in the trees, and to be able to just open my window and sit and watch and bring out my Bible and read and just take things in, to do my worship at home every single morning. Like, it was my routine every single day. I would open the window wide, look at the birds, listen to them sing, speak to God, read the word and digest and reapply it. And if I was given a word, I would then go and make a video and post it on my TikTok and on my Instagram. I was so moved by what I was learning that I had to share it, because I felt like so many people are lost and I didn't want them to be lost like I was. And I felt like in order to keep on the right path, I had to put it out there so that people could just grab it while I was in the moment. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes we learn things and sometimes we experience things and we don't learn the lesson, or we don't realize what we actually got from it. We just focus on the negative. And yeah, I was truly in a moment where I just was really grateful for everything that was happening in life. I didn't mind the fact that I wasn't where I wanted to be. I wasn't upset that I was let off my job. I wasn't upset that God didn't allow my pregnancy to come full cycle into the earth. I wasn't mad anymore. I was just at peace, and I was grateful for the fact that I wasn't equipped. I wasn't ready for that blessing, and it just felt like I was given another chance to do it right and live life right and make things right with people that I truly love, that I wasn't being good to, basically. So when I had no job, I had nothing, literally, I had no money. It was actually crazy. I had no money, and I wasn't worried because I was so in alignment with God that I wasn't worried. I started to appreciate soap. I started to appreciate things that I didn't even have to second guess in life, like toothpaste. I wasn't even aware that before this happening, I didn't realize how lucky I am. I didn't realize the things that I was just taking for granted because I always had them, just like a job. I've always had money. I've never been jobless. I have always had some type of income. So to have nothing coming in for months, 6 or 7 months, and to learn to be okay and grateful and happy with that, and to have to navigate people telling me, oh, you should definitely think of what to do next. I was given pressure to hurry up and get to the job because society tells you you cannot chill, you cannot live, you're not allowed to live for free. You have to work hard and then pay for things. And I was no longer a part of the system. I was just with God, and I was grateful and I was thankful, and I was my happiest I've ever been. That's why I say it's so important to stop and appreciate that, because now I'm back at work and I do miss those days that I was free. And I'm not saying my job is not something I love, but I was so thankful to just be with the Lord, and I wish I had just embraced that a lot more than I did when it was happening. But yeah, I'm so thankful for that, because I see life differently and I treat money differently, and I see people and I feel for people in different ways now that I wasn't able to relate to before, because that was kind of my poor moment. I would have moments with people and I'll be vulnerable and I'll let them know, look, I ain't got nothing. And some people will be amazing and bless me, and some people will just be like, oh, you've got this, like, you know. And it was like a battle between my own mind, feeling like, wow, like someone that has been in my life for so long, you see I'm struggling, you don't want to help me. And then people that don't even know me started helping me, like destiny helpers were coming out of the works and helping me. And I was just so thankful, you know. I'm so thankful for those moments. And I eventually, after speaking to this lady, I did get baptized, and I was so grateful and I was so excited and thankful. It was such a beautiful moment of my life, and it's just so strange because even though I had faith, I was clueless as to where I'm headed. I was clueless as to where God was taking me. I was clueless. Like, I didn't even know what was happening in my life. I just knew that I had to put my faith and trust in the Lord and know that He's going to make things better, and that my life will not stay as Job forever. Like, things will not keep crashing down, and my faith will not continue to be tested over and over again. Even though I've said I'm staying here in my secret place with you, I'm trusting you. And yes, I don't have money in my account, but I have God. You know, yes, I don't have a job, but I have God, you know, because He's the person that you need. You don't need anything else once you have Him. Once you receive Him, once you put your whole love and heart into Him, you're the happiest you can ever be. The other stuff is just like a bonus of life, and that's why it's just like my attitude towards money, my attitude towards paying for things, I was not as like negative. I always know that if I spend money, it's returned to me regardless. We're here to spend the money, because when we die, we can't take it with us. When I go to heaven, it's not coming with me. Yeah, I'm gonna be blessed in different ways that does not require coins, because that is not of God, that is of the world. So yeah, it helped me to kind of cut down on what I was valuing, what I was idolizing, what I was chasing, and kind of step back and be like, you know what, God wants me to adore this. God wants me to take note of His creations and realize how the birds were happy, and they are not required to work. They are not required to be forced into anything that will cause them to be sick, because they're choosing that thing over their freedom. It was a beautiful moment in my life, and once I got baptized, it just felt like, yeah, I was so thankful and I was so grateful for life. I just want you to know that God will make changes in your life that you don't have to understand. You'll just feel a shift, and it won't make sense because that's happening to you spiritually first, and then along the line, physically, it will come into fruition. You'll see, right, like that shift meant this, and that's why I had to step back from that and welcome this and close that door to open this door. Like, everything has a reason, everything has a purpose. God is doing such great things when you don't even know. When you're sleeping, you know, He does some crazy things. He works overnight for you. So always be thankful and grateful for where you're at. Never ever rush the process. Never ever question Him and be like, why is it not happening now when I want it to? Because yeah, you have to be ready and prepared for what you're asking for. Don't think that you're just gonna ask for something and get given it at your current stage, because your current stage isn't even grown. It's not even mature enough to receive that blessing. You're asking for something that you're not even allowed to achieve yet. You have to work for it, which is a state of growth, progression, and growing up in yourself. And once you grow up in yourself, you receive those things, and you'll be more grateful for it because you worked for it. You overcame things for that thing. You changed your mindset, you changed your ways of thinking and being in regards to how you treat people. There's so many different layers to what God allows you to walk through, what He allows you to learn. You just have to stay on the right path and not rush it. Enjoy it while it lasts, because the more you progress with God, the more things get more challenging and difficult, and the more you have to really, really practice what you preach, and you have to work harder to ensure that you stay on the right path, because it becomes kind of comfortable in a way that makes you feel like, I can do this, I've been doing it. But realistically, when you get used to something, you start to slack and you start to do it so casually that you're not doing it in the right way anymore, or you're not as strong in what you're doing anymore. So yeah, just chill out, let it be, and just know that the more that you connect with the Lord, the more that you're in connection with God, the more He will reveal your purpose to you. So if you're in this rush because you don't know where you belong and you're just trying to figure it out, and you feel like, it's a new year, I need to be doing this. No, just know that as long as you put God above all things in life, above the man you love, above everybody that is attached to you, that you truly care for and you want in your life, put Him first, invite Him into it, let Him take control of those people, pray for those people under His name, and everything will work out for you. I promise you. Yeah, I promise you guys. Like, God above all, and you'll see everything becomes fruitful. Without God, nothing is fruitful. Everything will just be a dead end, and you'll have to start again, repeat the cycle, do the same thing over and over again every single year. Like, we're not doing that anymore, guys. We're not doing that anymore. We're claiming a different life. We're claiming a different life, and we're not rushing God. We're allowing God to be God, because God is God. No one can be Him. No one can imitate Him. No one can do that, okay? What God can do for you, no other can do. So please put your all into your love for Him. Put your all into getting right with Him, so that you can receive what you're supposed to receive. And don't give up. Don't give up, okay? Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.